All right, the second of the two semifinals games for the EU Masters. We have Portugal versus Croatia. And here's the deal. Pretty sure everybody's putting their money on Portugal. I'm putting my money on Croatia. Why? Well, mainly because I'm biased towards Croatia. I want Croatia to win because I love AnnieDesu and he's the shit. So that's about it. That's my argument. Unfortunately, though, they did not bring TK Raka, which is kind of... AnnieDesu's been doing really well on that deck. We didn't really see a lot of it in general in the entire tournament in the top 8. So I guess it's not really surprising that they decided not to bring it. But nevertheless, again, if you guys want to check out more top 8 footage, link will be in the description below to my website, which has tons of tournament VODs on there if you want to go ahead and check them out. And let's go ahead, without further ado, and get into this top 4 semifinals gameplay of EU Masters.
I mean, on average, I think Ezreal is doing at the absolute most about 6 damage in any given game. It's really not what it used to be, and I think that you are fine sort of going down on these tosses, even if your opponent is trading card for card. You're going to feel like you're getting the better of that because you're both just accelerating your game plans, but I think going deep is stronger than leveling Ezreal.
Yeah, the thing is with deep is they have to try and play multiple sea monsters straight away when they hit the Nautilus, and if Portugal, what they really need to do is just search for their executes, basically. They need to search for Scorched Earth or Guillotine. I don't know which one, how many copies of each they're running in the deck, we don't know. But they are definitely running a combination or both or one of those cards.
I'm curious to know if Croatia stopped running the Tom Raka, because even though everybody is still going for Scorched Earth over Noxie and Guillotine.
Yeah, Tom. All right, so that's a good deck. Like I still am not crazy about the deck overall, just because of like how it wins and all that good stuff. And the Star Spring animation really needs an update, but
it needs a cinematic.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I agree. I think that Croatia actually did a really good job piloting it as well. So I'm very curious as to why they didn't bring it.
It's because a lot of the early sort of mid-range like scouts and stuff, no one's picking them, right?
Yeah.
The matchups where it's really good, it's just never happening.
And everybody's running Fearsome.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it basically insta-loses to Fearsome. So.
Okay, so Croatia has the missed call. This is something I've been talking about for ever since Ezreal got back into the meta. I've been back on this missed call train because a complete blowout play in an Ezreal matchup is playing Maokai, having it get thermo beamed, and bringing it right back to life. Thermo Beam is the only card that is a one-shot kill onto the Maokai in a matchup like this. The chances of your opponent having 2 are very low, and you will at least be able to open the following turn, playing something into the Maokai, getting a little bit of toss, getting down that sapling, and your opponent just has to commit so many resources into that, and it gets its immediate value as soon as you play a unit. Or we save it for the Nautilus, and then that execute ability that Gems was talking about earlier, much less effective.
Annie, are you still wearing the same top from yesterday?
Listen, don't judge him, okay? It's his good luck shirt. Yeah, he's fine. Good catch, though.
The dog is like actually the team shirt for Team Croatia. They're all wearing it, and he's just the only one on camera.
It's all matching. Or no, they actually recorded this all in one day. We're just now seeing it. It's supposedly live.
It does look like it's nighttime for him now, whereas yesterday I think it was daytime. So honestly, shit, you might be right.
It should be 4 p.m. for him, so it gets dark actually around this time, around 4. So it doesn't surprise him. This is still a pretty decent start here for Portugal.
Wow.
Croatia really, their hand is kind of bricked here. They could just lower the depths, right? That's kind of it.
Yeah, it'd be the most efficient use of their mana at the moment. See what we get off of this. I mean, if we do find the beast below.
That's actually perfect, right? Do you throw it here? That's the question, because I think if you do, we're probably going to see static flock, static just to draw a card.
Yeah, and I think because of this start, oh wow, actually going for the rummage. Because of this start,
they see thermo instead, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Portugal here could just go ahead, excuse me, be the aggressor and just, thermo, go in for the attack with everything, really push a lot of damage, and that's going to put Croatia in danger early on here if this Ezreal does come out, or if we do start to get some of that burn damage to face going on.
And
you mean Farron decimates.
Oh, plus Farron, yeah. Farron's already in hand, too, so yeah.
This definitely feels like a more aggressive version of the Draven Ezreal than we're used to seeing, because I can't remember the last time I saw this deck run Noxian Fervor. We are just maxing out on the amount of burn potential that we have available.
Yeah, this is a super weak hand as well on the side of Croatia. They literally cannot do anything.
Well, they can devour the Draven, I guess. It doesn't
and then
seem
get static
great.
shocked.
Yeah. So it's not the greatest right now. And honestly, since the very first hand, the look on Annie's face is just not too hot right now. So it feels bad for Croatia.
I haven't seen Deep do well in this tournament at all. Like, players keep picking it, but I feel like it's had way more losses than wins throughout the tournament.
It's weird because generally, I mean, Deep is an extremely flexible deck, which actually makes it, in my opinion, worse in these sort of blind pick matchups, because generally you pick one or two matchups that you want to sort of counter with the Deep, and then, you know, it does change as to whether you're playing it like a control deck or a mid-range deck, and, you know, if you run into a matchup where your strategy isn't the most efficient for the specific kind of Deep that you've built, you're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, so interesting. Croatia deciding to pass there, probably just trying to switch things up and get something done. Looks like they are playing Stalking Shadows, which I do really like in deep decks, so I think we really want to... Oh my god. Oh my god!
And Portugal is guillotine now as well.
And Portugal has the win now as well. So...
Guillotine is actually insanely bad for Croatia because it kind of takes the miscall Nautilus off the table, because there is a chance to just re-damage it and replay that Guillotine all in the same turn.
I'm looking at Manittas' face now. I love the facial expressions, because Manittas' face when he saw the Stalking Shadows mist is like shock, and then at the same time he's like, oh wait, that's really good for us. Like, yes.
That's 2 days in a row we've seen Stalking Shadows whiff right now.
Yep.
Was it in deep as well both times?
Yeah,
I think it was deep
fan
as well
of it
yesterday.
in deep.
I like it
was
in
a
deep,
cool
but not if you're running a lot of spells. Like, I don't know how many
that
spells
was my thing. Like, it's cool conceptually. I don't think you're allowed to run it with Mistcall. I think that does put a little bit too many spells in your deck, and we're seeing, you know, Croatia get punished for it here.
Yeah, this is...
And now, what are you going to do? Are you going to throw down this Devourer onto a 2/2 Spider to try and, you know, actually get something off the board, or you just get the Static Shock out here? None of these options feel good, and it looks like we are going to go for the kill onto the Draven.
Oh, man. You can't... I don't think you can play around or afford to play around something like Static Shock.
Yeah, you just got to get something onto the board. At least it does develop a blocker for the Chump Wump on the following turn.
Yeah, this is a big decision for Portugal here if we do decide
you static,
to just...
right? Every time.
Yeah, you could even static and flock to go for the open on the following.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that's just too good, I think, as well.
This is just
rough. And then
rough.
would push, what, 7, 8, 10 damage? Put your opponent at 1, actually kill your opponent because of the Static Shock, potentially. And then Vengeance has to come out onto a Draven or a Chump Wump, but even then, we still have the Noxian Fervor. I'm pretty sure Portugal just takes this on the following turn.
So
yeah, double miscall Vengeance Jettison is like
it's
super
bad.
full. How close are they to deep though? That's the
I don't think they're close enough for the Jettison, or they would have fired it off in response to the static.
No, I mean this Slaughter Dogs is doing work, but not
Did they
enough.
go deep off the Slaughter Dogs? I don't think so. They've played what, one toss unit?
Yeah, they're not even close. Slaughter Dogs can only do so much, guys. It's only one per turn.
Slaughter Dogs hasn't even jettisoned yet. It hasn't been down long enough.
So they've had what, dredgers,
and they've tossed like 6 or 7, so they're probably still at like 22, 23 cards at absolute least.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably
man.
even closer to 25.
So I know, you guys have both mentioned throughout this tournament the people taking safe lineups, right? We've all mentioned it. And to me, Deep inherently is just not a safe deck. Can it be good in certain matchups? Sure. But it can draw like this. Like Deep, as far as like all the decks are concerned, there's certain decks that draw a lot more consistently. And Deep, I don't feel, is a deck that always draws consistently. Especially if you're running things like Miscall and Stalking Shadows, like you guys mentioned. It's not like you're asking to get like crap hands like that, and that's exactly what we just saw, unfortunately, for Croatia. Really just having no chance in that match the entire time. No chance.
Yeah, they lost at the mulligan face.
Yeah, they literally did. Like that was not even close, and unfortunately, it was so bad where for once, because we're always on top of figuring out random outs. I know you are, Boulevard. You love thinking of that one random card that they can draw to win the game.
There's always a
wasn't
treasure
any.
trove to contemplate.
Yeah, exactly, right? Wait, we weren't even doing that. That's how bad that hand was. There was nothing that the deep deck could have actually drawn to get them out.
They got out. They got aggroed out by a Draven as just playing Draven House
like,
Spider. Just playing Draven and House Spider, and that was it.
Wow. So that's a real quick, unexpectedly quick first game, and a pick not looking too hot now, going down 0-1 with Croatia. I have faith though. I have hope. We're bringing it back, boys. We're bringing it back. 2-1.
I noticed that Mogwai doesn't look nearly as excited as he usually does, and I think it's because Spain has already been knocked down to third place.
That smile. Turn that frown upside down, Mogwai. You got this. So, yeah, it feels bad when your team loses. My team, France, being a Frenchman myself, is still in the tournament.
Are you French?
I am converting, okay?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't think so.
Technically, that means I should be voting. I should be rooting for Croatia from now on, then, because that's like the next closest country that I could even root for.
Guys, it's 2020. I can be whatever I want to be. If I want to be a French elephant, let me be a French elephant. It's happening, okay? We're gonna win.
Team Mexico.
yeah, right. So actually, yeah, honestly, at this point, we're probably honorary Brazilians. So.
That or Venezuela or Argentina.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
probably Argentina.
But yeah, I think actually this weekend, anyways. I mean, you guys have been doing this for the last few weeks. This weekend, that's probably the quickest game that we've seen so far.
So now, I mean, there's no way Croatia runs back that deep deck, right? That was a disastrous performance. I think that was the matchup you were looking for when you do have things like Mist Call in the deck. I don't think it does nearly as much against any of these other decks that Portugal has brought. That was sort of what you were looking for on the side of Croatia, who, I mean, has continued to, sort of be the backup Czechia in Top Cut, playing their pick and ban phases very well, getting the matchups that they want. Unfortunately, the draws don't work out for them in game number 1, but I would assume that they have a good read on what Portugal's got left, so maybe... maybe they go for the mist rates then.
I think Anivia is also another matchup with all those mist calls. It's pretty good. Because if you play down like Nautilus and a few others, they Vengeance, you play mist call, you still get pretty decent attack. With sea monsters, nearly guaranteed. The only way to remove board of massive sea monsters is like Ruination, and you have mist calls, loads of mist calls in your deck.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that for the same reason we haven't really seen discard aggro played, we are not going to see deep chosen again, because I don't think Croatia wants to go out with the potential of just drawing a brick hand. So I expect them to possibly pick something that might be a little bit more consistent as far as draws are concerned.
You just want to see go hard, don't you?
I was just going to say go hard is probably the most consistently
Annie says
drawn.
If we're going out, we're going
my God.
Picks his signature Karma Lee Sin.
Wow.
See, this could be good for them because this Diana is pretty much has to invoke obliterates and stuff, and as long as Lee Sin has like the denies, they should be okay, right?
You are going against one of the lightest removal decks in the game. Now, it does matter if that Shadow Isle splashes Unspeakable Horror or Atrocity, as we've started to see.
Wow, so this should be interesting. Was not expecting to really see Karma Lee Sin played, or really see it much in the tournament period. We mentioned it coming into this round.
What this means is that Annie is taking control of the team, right? This is an Annie special, and he's like, "Look, guys, trust me on this. We're doing this because I know for a fact the other two will not have anywhere near as much experience on this list as Annie does, right?
If Croatia didn't have Annie on the team, there is a 0% chance Karma Lee Sin would be in the lineup.
I'm not gonna lie. If Annie wasn't on the team, I probably wouldn't be picking Croatia to win this. So I'm just gonna throw.
So it is the Atrocity splash on the side of Portugal.
Wow. All right. I imagine that is gonna go ahead and get tossed back into the deck there. But I think honestly, I feel like this is a pretty good matchup for Karma Lee Sin. I think that they will have a pretty good shot at taking this game. So I'm excited to hopefully go to a game 3 here. I will say yesterday we saw a lot of 2-0s. I think there was only one match that went to 3 games, and everything else going 2-0. So far we have a 2-0 in the first semifinal with France. We'll see if that happens here with Portugal versus Croatia.
Yeah, this is a pretty good starting hand for Croatia. And the thing is, you have to remember, is this Karma Lee Sin runs the invoke package. So they can also invoke stuff that's super useful, and especially when the Karma goes online, they get like double invokes, which is kind of what you'll see happen here. And there's nothing really to stop the Karma coming down if it ever gets to that point, which is why I think it should be favored, just because of how much value Karma can add. Portugal might just literally have to like throw out a Hush to stop doubling up Karma spells.
On paper, I agree with you. In practice, I would not be surprised to see Croatia lose this game, never drawing one of their champions.
That's a thing. That could be a thing. Looks
Their
like right
opening
now,
hand, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. There is a little bit of cycle with this guiding touch, but nowhere near as much as you would want. And on the side of Portugal, this is honestly a pretty solid hand.
Zenith Blade also thins out the deck.
I was going to say, Zenith Blade early with this Mountain Goat is actually pretty good paired with that Guiding Touch. I think they are actually in a good spot with a pretty decent hand. We even have the Eye of the Dragon as well, so we're not dying anytime soon. Like, there's no way this game doesn't go to turn 10, right? So I think that's what Portugal wants to avoid and try to win this, earlier rather than later. But
as aggressively as possible. And I think that means that we are going to go for, a Daybreak onto the first Eclipse Dragon just to get the second one down on the next turn. Even, sure, we Nightfall it. If we can find a Ravoon here on the side of Portugal, that's almost game over unless Croatia can find something. But, actually, even if we do find a Lee Sin, we are pretty far away from leveling it up, and it's going to be an expensive venture to do so as well.
I've seen this Lee Sin get powered leveled in a turn from Annie, right? If he gets to the point where Karma's on the board, it's like 2 or 3 spells and it's leveled. It's like super quick.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention, I really like this pillar on the Mountain Goat. I feel like we see it a lot from a deck like this. And early game, like you guys said, there's really not a lot of removal on the side of Portugal until we start getting some of those invokes later on. And getting a really large unit is going to make it hard for Portugal to really, send a decent-sized attack through. This stun with the Leona top deck is huge, though. This will allow some additional damage to come through, which I imagine means we're going to get something like a Guiding Touch just to preserve some life. So, honestly, as far as aggression is concerned, this is a really good start for Portugal. This is exactly what they want to see.
Yeah. I mean, they could also just play the Spacey Sketcher and get rid of Nopify.
Yeah, I guess Nopify is probably the worst card here. There's really not... Is there even any Nopify targets in this deck?
Is there a single... It's not... There's not even... Yeah, I'm just trying
Generally,
to think.
the answer is no. The only spells are Pale Cascade and Hush.
I feel like... So we got Crescent Strike, Trickster, and Moonsilver. I feel like you almost... you really don't want to pick Crescent Strike, I don't think, but I think you have to just to... hopefully not take any damage in the subsequent attack turns. You're already going to take some this turn, so...
Whenever you're playing a Karma deck, I don't think you're too upset to take those stun abilities and just try to take this into the late game as efficiently as possible. And when your opponent is running something like a Leona, if you do see a Ravoon come down on 5, which would sort of be worst case scenario for Croatia, that means that Portugal is further enticed into going for developmental attacks, and you will get more value out of that Crescent Strike.
Yeah, Eye of the Dragon will be nice here, though. We do pretty nicely retain that 3 spell mana going into turn 5 here, and we still have plenty of spells. So this turn, we are likely going to get a dragon... Well, sorry, the next turn, I should say, we'll get the Dragon Link out. We should be playing 2 spells this turn. And this attack does... Oh, this is going to get blown out by Pale Cascade.
See, I was thinking there's a chance that you even go for the Hush here. Yeah. There's not a lot of
Save
great Hush targets. It really is just
Karma.
Well, I will say, Hush is going to get a lot more value later on in the game, no?
It could, yeah. It's a consideration, but actually it looks like they're fine just taking the damage and saying, you know what, this is something that I'll just stun out with the Leona a little bit later on. Turn 5 looking pretty awkward here on the side of Portugal.
It's kind of awkward for both sides, really. The most they can throw Diana down, and that's about it.
Yeah, that feels like a nothing play, and this sort of lull in the activity definitely feels like it favors Croatia. They can even go for a Behold the Infinite here just to get a burst pass back on, see if, Portugal wants to do anything. At least, see what Celestials you're starting to find, because, there is always the possibility of a Golden Sisters, because we still haven't seen the Celestial that was played off of that Solari Priestess. Maybe you're thinking it was a Falling Comet, but it's going to be the Guiding Touch first, and that just gets us another Guiding Touch.
I think you just Guiding Touch again, right? You just want to get through your deck. It's mana efficient.
It doesn't look like Portugal's sort of going for a big brain pass where they want you to tap out a mana in order to go for, whatever they want to get down after the fact. So yeah, I think they're just, it looks like Annie just kind of okay, yeah, I guess I'll play another cantrip.
Oh, he's going for the Behold instead. Okay.
And we'll see, what do we got to choose from here?
Ooh, written in the stars.
Cosmic
Ooh, inspiration, baby. That was a snap cosmic inspiration.
He can get that down on the next turn as well if he wants to go for another Behold the Infinite here.
I think I was thinking written in the
Actually,
stars
just has
just to
the Crescent
guarantee.
Strike as well, so you can just play that next turn straight up.
That's what I was. Do you go cosmic over written? I mean,
Well, they did.
Yeah.
you guarantee the draw. You guarantee Lee Sin or Karma being buffed and drawn.
Yeah, but I think you're playing the long game with this deck. You are. Like, I don't think you're actually worried about drawing them immediately. I mean, if there's a ton of aggression, sure, which we kind of are a little worried, but...
I think the problem is, what would Karma do right here?
Nothing.
It generates spells that could be useful.
That's a lot of RNG.
I definitely feel like Cosmic Inspiration is the better play in that regard, because you know, it's going to buff up these dragonlings that are coming out of the Eye of the Dragon as well. You know, all of the aggression is pretty much off the table for Portugal in that regard. Then, is you're getting 4 lifesteal blockers down, and it's going to be the second thing stunned out. Is that Mountain Goat is still going to be the pillar for the Leona to slap around?
Morning Light.
Question, do we see an open attack here from Portugal? Or do we see the Golden Sisters come down?
I feel like you have to see Golden come down because nothing trades with this Mountain Goat.
Which then I think if we see Golden Sisters come down, we're getting inspiration.
Cosmic inspiration.
Yeah, that's
cosmically
happening.
inspired.
Oh yeah, we're getting inspired, baby, and that means we have a 6/6 goat, which now trades with everything, and we have a buffed up Dragonling on every single turn, which is insane. Mountain Scry, we still see inspiration. We snap inspiration. This is really good for AnnieDesu and Croatia right here.
Going for the Scourge, saying, you know what, you don't have Lee Sin yet. There's a good chance that my Mountain Scryer is going to be able to live into the next turn, and that does mean that my Scourge is going to get to come down 1 turn earlier. And Portugal actually looks kind of shocked by this Cosmic Inspiration.
He's like, what? What? No, look at the hand.
He's like, why would they pick that?
Face palm.
Do you expect them to even pick it? That's the thing.
I mean, well, that's a fair point.
And what are the odds of getting it?
Here's the thing.
The next thing.
Here's the thing, and I think this is the same reason why you're mentioning maybe Written in the Stars and some other, lines. This is not a commonly played deck, Karma Lee Sin. So no, to your point, I don't think they were expecting it. I don't know if they 100% know what to expect out of this deck, just because it's not a commonly.
Annie's played it for a while.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's still not a deck like you're not grinding this deck to practice for this tournament like 100 times. This is not the deck you are 100% worried about.
I think that Croatia has brought this deck every week, and I think at most they've played it once.
So there you go.
They played it in week 1, I remember.
Yeah, I think they played it week 1 and then didn't touch it again, but continued to bring it.
Yeah, this is it's one of the more different decks that we've seen, I think, in this tournament. So it would definitely stand to reason that, they are a little bit confused as to why Cosmic Inspiration was picked, but that is, I think, going to blow this game out. This is a very early Cosmic Inspiration as well, and I don't know if there's really a way around that for Portugal. I mean, there's not enough obliterate inspiration effects inspiration effects. That's how much I am on Cosmic Inspiration now. There's not enough invoke effects in the world to get rid of big units like that.
But how do they deal with the Scourge? This looks like, by the time that we do hit turn 9, which unfortunately for Portugal will be the attack token for Croatia. So even though you get the Scourge down a little bit early, you're not actually getting anything done with it. And now your Mountain Scryer is in danger because of this Serpent. Is this the part where you start throwing out hushes thinking, there's no Lee Sin, there's no Karma, maybe I have to deal with the immediate. I don't think this Mountain Scryer really matters to you too much anymore, though, because the Scourge can't attack until turn 10 anyway. I think you're going to be happier to just start going down. I mean, you could even just Eclipse Dragon on turn 7, get the Scourge down on 8, and then you do have it available for an early attack turn. Sort of that like A-Soul ramp style effect that we always talk about could just apply to the Scourge.
But that will be delayed.
Take 2. Yeah, you block with the Ephemeral or just take 2. It's kind of I didn't understand the attack there that much.
You just wanted to use the Pale Cascade.
Yeah, I guess just for the cycle. The thing with the Scourge, I will say, is we do have the Crescent Strike as backup. And honestly, we'll probably get some more evoke effects to deal with it at some point too. So
I would have preferred to actually Pale Cascade the Leona to heal it up.
Oh, that's a fair point, actually, because we would have still got the same block, right? Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah. Actually, you mean not attack at all and just use the Pale
Yeah,
Cascade?
yeah,
Leona.
not attack at all,
okay.
just heal the Leona.
I mean,
I thought we saw the Mountain Scryer on 6. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm like sitting here looking at this atrocity drawn for turn, knowing that we played a Targon Allegiance card on the previous turn, trying to put 2 and 2 together, but it was the Shield Bearer that was on top of the deck and then got drawn by the Pale Cascade. I put it all together.
Yeah.
And suddenly the aggression is on the side of Croatia. Yeah, I don't think you want to. I don't think you want to go that all out.
Yeah, and I think you do want to try and not play anything in combat here so that you can get down this Eclipse Dragon.
Yeah, that's just this mountain goat though is actually kind of just put Portugal in such an awkward position. They haven't been able to deal with it at all, and they don't want to commit this hush at any point either.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we might just be going for the Sisters here into an open attack. And, as cool as the Scourge coming down on 8 would have been, there is still that Crescent Strike in Croatia's hand.
Yeah,
we found a Lee Sin, and we have the Zenith Blade. Things suddenly not looking like Portugal is going to be able to pick this one up. They had a chance against this sort of weaker board of Croatia, even though it is Cosmic Inspired. There's not a lot of units to actually get through, but now Lee Sin is the game-ending push that they probably needed. You have Hush to survive it a little bit, but, it's probably still not going to be enough because you don't actually have a kill onto the Lee Sin anytime soon. This atrocity isn't representing anything. Your opponent's still way too high for anything like that.
Yeah, you 100% just drop Lee Sin. Oh, no. They value the lifesteal?
I think Croatia probably wants to put Lee Sin down at the end of Portugal's next turn if possible, just to go into maybe an open attack with it. Not sure. I mean, there is, so we still have this Scourge in hand, and unfortunately too, I know, Boulevard, you mentioned this really early in the game, these Eclipse Dragons. The field is so wide at this point that the Eclipse Dragons never actually came down on turn 7 and maybe reduced the cost of the other, reduced the cost of, the Scourge or something like that. Unfortunately, not getting those down, I think, is a pretty big deal because they're really the only things that are going to threaten Croatia and challenge the board right now. And instead, we just have a whole lot of nothing on board. So, it seems like it's a big board, but not really going to get a lot done. I do like the Leona. It will at least stun the Mountain Goat here, which takes the most effective blocker off the table. But, I mean, we still have so many options on the side of Croatia. We even still have the Crescent Strike to just really shut down any turn. Whenever Croatia wants to shut down an attack turn, they can just pull the Crescent Strike trigger.
The worst part is they're not even under that much threat, even with only 2 blockers. They're taking what? Maybe 6. What? That's not even. They're taking what? 7 damage. 7 damage.
Yeah. Even if Portugal went for a full attack and Croatia let it go, I think it's only 19 damage.
And this.
But they got a 4/3 heat lifesteal.
Yeah.
So it's never gonna be that LP.
Yep. Well, yeah, Cosmic Inspiration. Damage. Never estimate or underestimate a Cosmic Inspiration on Dragonlings because a 4/3 every turn. All right, make that 2 4/3s every turn. There's no way you get through that. There's just no way.
Yeah, and we might even just see Lee Sin. I understand not getting the Lee Sin down here. You don't actually have any protection for it if there is some kind of invoke into a falling comet out of your opponent. And Lee Sin at the moment is your win con. You can just get chump blocked out continuously by the board of Portugal, who honestly wouldn't mind getting rid of some of their weaker units in order to make way for some of the larger ones in their hand. Yeah,
I'm just thinking, I feel like as long as Croatia draws a deny, they're set, right? That's all they care about. The second they get a deny, they have literally nothing to worry about. They can just throw this Lee Sin down for free.
And there's the deny.
Yeah, might as well be a deny right there. And yeah, that means, is that Lee Sin, I believe, leveled up now? So it will come down leveled up, and this might be the turn where we get it going into the next turn for the attack here. We have the Zenith Blade that we can then open up with the Daybreak effect, and yeah.
So here's my question. Let's talk about Game 3 real quick. We always talk about the players.
Wow, already!
They're like in limbo, and they're like, yeah, let's talk about the next game. Boys, let's talk about the next game. Croatia had their Rocky moment. They broke out the Karma Lee Sin. It looks like they are going to end Portugal's insane, 8 to 10 game win streak that they're currently on. But this was sort of their last hurrah. This was the eye of the tiger. What do you have left in the tank after you pick up the game number 2 win going into game number 3?
Whoa. I still fully believe the eye of the tiger has yet to come. It is coming in game 3, baby. All right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the eye of the dragon. The eye of the tiger.
This is the eye of the dragon. Oh man, yeah. This is honestly, I love to see it from Croatia. I think they will have plenty left in the tank. Honestly, I think, and look at and I love the energy from Annie. This is why I'm saying Eye of the Tiger's coming game 3.
Actually, if any good content creator is watching, if you could make an Eye of the Tiger parody for Eye of the Dragon, I would love that.
Oh,
you could put it
yeah.
on your Patreon, put it behind a $20 payroll. I'm paying it. I want to hear that song.
Oh man, yeah, that would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Annie's dog though does not look as excited as Annie.
I vote we
He's
do
just
it
like-
with Annie. I vote we do the Eye of the Tiger video with Annie with like a bandana on or a headband, and he's like doing karate or something. Yeah, I think that'll work out. I think that next turn we're going into it's exactly what I mentioned. It's going to be the Lee Sin. We're going to go into the Daybroken Zenith Blade, and then we have Deny on backup. We're good to go.
Yep. Don't have lethal this turn though because of the hush.
How much damage are you doing after the hush with double sonic?
You're dealing 8.
Still a lot.
Yeah, this I think the hush just delays the inevitable, right? I just think it's going to be 2 more draws that we're going to see out of Portugal, and then we're just going to get the same thing.
Portugal can do anything here because if you develop the Scourge, that gets kicked by the Lee Sin. I mean, I think that you have to just pass here. Try to develop the Scourge after combat. Actually, we just straight up hush the Lee Sin, so now we could get down Scourge if we really wanted to.
Yeah, you have to hush beforehand because then you can't kick.
The effect will still happen. Yep.
So I actually don't mind that hush. The problem I have is that just saves them for 1 more attack turn, right?
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything on the next turn outside of Scourge.
So if you get down the Scourge here, the open attack doesn't represent as these these Dragonlings coming down, and you did commit the Equinox onto the Goat instead of one of these eyes to stop the Dragonlings from popping out. And if you try to develop anything, then there's the Crescent Strike. We have the Deny for the Atrocity. Yeah, things just looking really good for Croatia here, unless Portugal can draw a second Atrocity. Try to throw the Scourge at your opponent's face twice next turn, but instead we go for the Eclipse Dragon.
Yeah, and here we go. We just get the free lifesteal. This feels really bad.
Damage.
Yeah, like the 8 damage that you want to take because they're ephemeral and you don't want to lose any card advantage, but you kind of also have to block them, which... I mean, there's not any one... You can throw the Shield Bearer, I don't think you care about, but I don't think you really want to sacrifice anything else. It feels bad losing Mountain Scryers, feels bad losing Diana, or even this elusive Silver Sister here. So, yeah, this is a feels bad moment for Portugal. I think, and you mentioned before, too, about what's going to be left in the tank game 3. When you play a game like this, I feel like it really puts strain on you mentally for Portugal because... I think like 3 turns ago, Portugal... Actually, let's go back to Cosmic Inspiration. I think when Cosmic Inspiration was played, Portugal knew the game was over. But now they have to play it out.
You cannot talk about mental strain in your second game of the day.
Yeah.
If you were at a point where you are gassed out off of... You haven't even finished your first match yet. Imagine showing up to a Grand Prix and in the middle of round 1, you say, you know what? I'm tired. I think I'm going to go home now.
Next week you definitely can't do that. With the seasonal tournaments coming up, imagine be like, round 1 of this 1024 man tournament. I'm tired after round 1. I'm just gonna stop. I give up. Even though I won, I'm just gonna stop here.
Look, the 1-0 drop is a power move.
Oh man, okay, that's another Cosmic and a Great Beyond and an Immortifier.
And they take the Cosmic number 2.
They're memeing at this point. They're like, yeah, completely just screw it. We're just going to get Cosmic here. What do they do?
Yeah, it has to be the Scourge. You have to try for some Atrocity Lethals on the following turn. But
And
there's
you have to
Crescent
go-
Strike, there's Deny.
Please play Cosmic. Please just play Cosmic Inspiration.
Well, you play Crescent first, right? Just 'cause
Well,
you don't.
then you don't have a
Squad.
Celestial to behold for the Cosmic.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't want to take any damage.
Oh, yeah,
Crescent
no,
just
there's
stops
no
the
reason.
entire
Okay.
turn.
But you get style points for Cosmic.
They are going for the style points.
Yes! Let's go! We say... This is Croatia saying, I see your Scourge, and I raise you a second Cosmic Inspiration. I can't wait to see the look on Portugal's face if this gets played. Come on, hit that OK button. Hit the OK button, Annie. Oh.
I don't know. I don't agree with it.
I mean,
I
neither
feel
do
like
I. I think it's the wrong decision. I just want to see it played. Yeah, there it is. And we can always play it after this anyways, so I don't think it matters.
We can't.
Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, that's right. That's the beholden one.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't think it matters because
Yeah,
you're
it
just
doesn't.
just win on the next turn.
guys, let me just all right. Let me be happy. All right, I want to see the second cosmic inspiration. Jesus.
So what you can do on the side of Portugal is you get atrocity to stop the Lee Sin kick.
Yeah.
That
And then get denied.
yeah.
They need a second atrocity, but they really wanted to try and find that second atrocity for the lethal, not really just to dodge the kick. And generally, these lists are playing the 2 atrocity as their only off-region cards.
They do. Double atrocity is lethal right now.
Not through deny.
No, not through deny, but on the board they do have enough damage to do 20 straight off the bat.
Yeah, I guess the question is, so the problem is, even if you had sort of the double atrocity, you know, get through the deny as well as push the damage at face, that's going to be the first thing that happens before combat. So there would be another 8 damage coming out of these Dragonlings, healing up Croatia back up for 8. And I don't think that even if the Scourge were to somehow, you get another one coming down on the next turn per se, that you're going to be able to win the game. It looks like this is all wrapped up. Nice, neat, you know, put a little bow on it for Croatia.
Yeah, here it is.
You try and kill the Scourge, right? Or the elusive.
I think you try to play Cosmic Inspiration first, even if we don't
But you
have
can't
I
play-
know, we don't have a beholden card. All right, Jesus,
You
let
just
me
want to see
live.
them like drag it multiple
Yeah,
times.
yes.
Like, look, I wanted to play it. They just won't let me.
Wait, can you? I don't even think you can drag it to the middle if you don't behold a card.
You can't.
You can't? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So it looks like we are going to go ahead and get the kick with Lee Sin. And that is going to wrap up this game here. Yeah, and Croatia, they're doing me proud, guys. They're doing me proud. They are going to get to the finals. We had Elix in chat, too. He also mentioned that he does want to face Croatia, not Portugal.
Well,
I don't know if that's because he's more scared of Portugal or what, but wants to face Croatia. So we'll see if we get that in the finals.
yeah, they have to go for the atrocity here. And then they just get blown out by deny.
Yep. And awesome game here. I mean, we even see the Faith Folk in hand.
The look on Annie's face, I don't know if he's just never seen the atrocity version before, but he looked borderline disgusted that they would even attempt to play a card here to survive.
How
It's like,
dare
oh,
you?
yeah, exactly. How dare you try to play this atrocity?
Get this crap out of here. What is wrong with you, Portugal? I mean, I guess now he's probably... I mean, you do have to consider, okay, what else happens? Like, what is... 7 mana is left on the side of Portugal. What could they possibly have? And going for... Okay. So it looks like actually... Oh, wow. Wait, does this still do lethal? No. Because the Scourge is gone. So I guess Annie, because it's closed deck lists, I don't hate this. I guess Annie kind of considering, all right, what
You're
could
not
they
in a
possibly
bad
be playing?
spot, right?
Yeah. No, you're fine. I mean, Croatia still wins. But I can definitely understand the consideration of maybe there's another atrocity, maybe there's some weird card they're playing that I don't know what the heck is in there now because we're seeing an atrocity. So
Theoretically, they were representing vengeance mana.
yeah, they were. So it's I like it. I like it.
Annie's popping off, seeing that he got to behold the infinite, so he can play Cosmic Inspiration number 2.
Yes! See, I knew it. This is why we didn't see the deny and atrocity. I'm gonna get my wish. Yes, let's go. It's not every day you see 2 Cosmic Inspirations played.
And you're not going to see it today either.
Oh, what the heck, man?
So Portugal's hot streak has come to an end here. Croatia getting this series tied up 1-1. But I felt like that was sort of their anime moment. You know, we whipped out our grandfather's deck, which contains no pathetic cards. We got our win against the Titan that is on a very hot streak. What do we have for game number 3? All the blue eyes are ripped up. Exodia's in the ocean. What do we have left?
I vehemently disagree with you, Boulevard. Game 3 is going to be the Exodia deck coming out. It's happening, all right?
They're going to get hard clap bringing out Deep again for game number 3. It's going to be over on turn 5.
If they bring Deep, I'm literally leaving. If Deep
there
is
is
in the
this
third
law
game,
within the universe where if you know, we've seen this a lot. Let's say the semifinals are this extremely hype, really long, grindy match, and then the finals is just the quickest, most anticlimactic 2-0 that you've ever seen. I think that's how game 3 is about to go. Either way that somebody wins, it's going to be very cut and dry.
Well, we'll see what we get here. It looks like we are going back into the picks as well.
What do you pick though if you're Croatia? You won already now with your Carmelite Sin, and your matchups are actually kind of close. I feel like your best option would probably be something like Shen, Fiora, or Go Hard.
Well,
Fiora does seem like the safest pick into what is remaining for Portugal.
do we get Weimer from Portugal? I know Boulevard you mentioned earlier. Maybe we get the Weimer deck. Is that actually an option on the table here?
I don't love its matchups into a lot of the things that Croatia has left on the table. It's definitely not your safest deck, and I don't think Portugal has shown sort of this willingness to play it that a couple of other lineups have. You know, they're not here to play Weimer. It's just, you know, if we do find ourselves in a situation where it looks like the best pick will go for it, I don't think this is that situation.
I am going to be disappointed if we get mid-range Frostbite or Deep. I just want to see not mid-range Frostbite or Deep on the side of Croatia, and I
What if
swear...
we just get a Frostbite? What if we get a Frostbite mirror? What a way to end
Can
this
we
series.
not?
Be, huh?
Can we not, Boulevard?
Put on your wait. Do you still have your Frostbite mid-range hat, mirror hat, handy?
Yes, actually, it's somewhere around here.
Perfect. I forgot that there was a time.
I was about to say, what is Deep even good here? Like, why would you pick Deep?
I mean, you picked it in game number 1.
Yeah, I know.
And, yeah, they're running it back. Deep versus Go Hard.
This should be
man.
okay for Deep. It's one of the few matchups I think it might be okay for Deep, because you can get a bunch of massive seed monsters that are outside of Go Hard range out on a single turn.
But you can also draw missed calls in your first hand and be bricked.
You can also get ruinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And I think generally there's one ruination in the Go Hard decks.
The one thing I will say, though, very, very little Maokai removal in the Go Hard deck.
Ooh, that's actually a really big deal.
It's just Vengeance, Go Hard, and Ruination, right? Or Peculate.
Crumble, potentially, as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's
hardly any. It's like nothing, right?
And even then, we could end up seeing, you know, okay, turn 4, I open with Vengeance, I need to save this for the Maokai, and then we get the Maokai missed call, and that's basically the end of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Maokai win condition is not always on the table. Just, you know, if there is that one Go Hard in hand, then technically they get around it.
Pressure onto your opponent, though, because yes, you won't deck out because you're playing these Go Hards, but you have to be a lot more wary of your draw effects, and also all your champions are out of your deck. You're really just playing one Go Hard a turn. There's no Twisted Fate level up that you're really going to be that concerned about. We saw that Croatia is running things like Vengeance. I don't think that TF ever gets to level up here. I don't think Gangplank is a significant threat. That's probably a one of. Generally, when we see this spread, it's 2 at least 1 Gangplank.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what this is. Yeah. So, and I think you do want the Gangplank in this matchup. I think, actually, Elise early on, if we do get the early Elise, I think that's going to help Portugal put the pressure on Croatia early, possibly take the game early, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to put enough pressure onto something like a Deep deck. This deck can be aggressive, but not quite against something like Deep, where it does run the tools to stave off aggression specifically, and this is definitely a better hand than last game.
Yeah, and you can just see Manittas is like taking a nice big deep breath right at the beginning of that match. He's like, okay, calm down, forget about the last match. We're in a brand new game. Our hand is okay. It's okay. Like it's pretty weak, I think, for a Go Hard list, but it's units, and they have Pull Shark later on to get 2 draws if they need to. And now with the TF, it's a lot better.
Yeah, TF definitely going to help here. We do have a Vengeance early. Do we ever Vengeance a TF? I feel like you might have to at some point.
Nah, right? And I feel like if you're on...
I mean, you do have to kill it eventually.
Yeah, like if we don't have any other options, I feel like you might actually see Vengeance onto this TF, because a level TF is definitely not, like, you're not going to... You could possibly still win.
Feel a little bit more likely, but...
Yeah.
Dead Bloom here is, with the missed call top deck, is actually insane.
Yep.
Because if they go for the Go Hard, you just miss call and you...
All right, there go all the missed calls.
Yeah, that's what's...
Yeah, and finally getting some use out of this missed call, and you gotta figure that's what Portugal's thinking. But I don't think you ever don't take this Go Hard. Like, it's just too good of a play.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the missed call out of your opponent.
Yeah.
You just saw 2 missed calls being tossed as well.
Yeah.
So you think the odds of them having their third one in hand right now is actually kind of low.
Well, actually, wouldn't it be high because the other two are on the bottom of the deck? What are the odds that all three are on the bottom of the deck?
It's high because we have one in hand. Because we know it is in hand, okay?
I mean, this
But that's
doesn't,
just general, right?
still doesn't represent like a great attack turn for Croatia. Yeah, you do get a trade with one of these 2/2s, but even if you let it go, like, just don't take this trade or anything like that, we could just get a gold card down onto it to set up a nice attack on the following turn. But that beast below is actually going to come up pretty big in a matchup like this, just being able to maintain tempo in these early turns.
Yeah, the problem they have is these double landmarks in their hand. They have to find a good turn to throw them out. And if you see TF coming down, I think that's the turn you might just start setting up landmark. I think you're okay taking 4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think...
You want to set those up as soon as you can to start tossing.
I agree. The earlier you get them on board, the more likely they're going to act like a jettison and then a free summon. And then, like Boulevard said, I really like this Beast Below pick in the deck. Like, against something specifically like TF Gohard, it basically trades with everything in the TF Gohard deck, sans Gangplank. And even with Gangplank, it will, technically it'll deal 4 damage onto it, which might come in big when you have something like a Devourer up. So I really like the Beast from Below. We'll see if it's going to be impactful here. And yeah, I think we just get a Slaughter Dogs played.
Oh, especially if you see the open attack from Portugal.
Yeah,
they're going to be okay. Slaughter Dogs. There's nothing to worry about. If TF comes down and draws blue card, it's whatever.
And if you do get, we don't see Beast Below that often, but when you Allure of the Depths, that's a Badger Bear. Y'all remember Badger Bear?
That's it. That was a good card.
Yeah, Badger Bear costs less.
Rip Badger Bear, man. And yep, all right, so we are actually going to value our life total a little bit more, and this does basically shut down the entire attack. So I guess, 4 life versus 1 extra toss, I guess you're not really worried about tossing too quickly. I could have seen either option, either way, but...
I think it was a little bit dependent on the open attack. So if there was an open attack instead of Twisted Fate being developed, you 100% were just throwing the Slaughter Dogs.
Yeah.
Abyssal Eye consideration here, but going to pass back over. Which I don't mind. This means you're burning 2 mana to your opponent's 5. Seems all right.
Yeah, and you don't have, you really do want to see what they end up doing before you commit anything on this turn. If they have a little bit of a weaker turn, do I want to go for a Slaughter Dogs? Do I want to go for this Abyssal Eye? It looks like we're just going to get a Salvage Burst Pass out of Portugal. And, maybe that is the part where you say, okay, now this Twisted Fate is a little bit too close to the level up. I don't go for Abyssal Eye. I want to set up Vengeance on the next turn, so I'm going to play Slaughter Dogs.
Yeah, especially with that draw. That is a lot of draw that turn.
Yeah. So I think Lore or Slaughter Dogs, either one of those is fine. You just definitely want to float a little bit of spell mana into the next turn to kill this Twisted Fate.
The other option is you just Dead Bloom. Because that represents just a nice blocker for one of the two, for the Red Way. You would have tossed 9 with Dead Blooms as well this game, which then means you could. How close are they to deep? Actually, it
does matter a lot because getting down Slaughter Dogs earlier rather than later is nice. The Dead Bloom is always going to represent that 3 toss, and yeah, at the moment, if the plan is to Vengeance the Twisted Fate, you don't have anything that you can block on your opponent's side of the field anyway. So maybe you're not really too worried about getting down that unit. Instead, just want to be tossing as much as possible. Because once you go deep, I feel like the game gets so much harder for Portugal.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's what you have to count what turn you're going to be hitting deep. So does this Slaughter Dog increase the turn count by 1? Basically, is your thought process. Because that's what you want, right? You want to drop the Slaughter Dogs, count how much cards you're away from deep, and figure out, does this actually increase the turn timer enough for it to warrant getting the extra free random sea monsters that come out from Slaughter decks? That's the cards you want, right? You want double sea monsters coming down potentially on the same turn, where Portugal have no way of dealing with both.
Yeah, if you get down a Terror of the Tides, that's generally the end of the game in a matchup like this, taking every single blocker off the table. We do see the Vengeance in Portugal's hand to answer that a little bit later on, but we're still very far away from that, I think.
Yeah, I wish we could see how close they were. It's one of those. It's another one of those games where we're not in Spectate Client and we don't get to see how far into their deck they are. It's super frustrating because you have to manually count how many cards they've drawn.
I've already retired my notebook. I went through an entire notebook trying to track deep matchups and how close are we to Maokai? How close are we to deep?
Yep. Yeah, it's like we've come so far. We have spectate mode, and we're just taking steps back here, unfortunately. But looks like, all right, Croatia gonna go ahead and play the vengeance, and it is gonna be on that TF because we absolutely don't want that to go off. I am not sure.
It looks like it's gonna level off this Glimpse Beyond.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm not sure how many it's at, but this feels bad if it does level it.
Yeah, but they haven't drawn their second one, so it's actually fine for Croatia.
Now. For now.
Yeah, Croatia hasn't found the Maokai, which is sort of their key card in a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Their, 4-cost champion that the opponent can't really do a whole lot about leveling. This Atrocity, kind of a dead top deck. It feels like Deep and Spooky Karma are in a similar vein right now, where it feels like there's a lot more fluff in the deck than there really needs to be, and we just kind of need to get back to those core strategies that made the decks good to begin with.
Yeah, they are going to push a little bit of damage here, Portugal. Again, we haven't been tracking how close they are to Deep. We've seen 6 tosses from Dead Blooms, and we've seen 6 draws.
I have been tracking the go-hards.
That's 12 cards. That's 12 cards plus 1 Slaughter Docs. That's 13 cards in, I believe.
Guys, newsflash, I can count to 3, okay? So I can at least
so
track
proud of you,
go-hards.
SJW.
So we are on Pack Your Bags officially if we draw another go-hard / Pack Your Bags. So we'll see if that's going to come in big here.
This triple Slaughter Docs, it's again, how close are they to Deep? Does triple Slaughter Docs actually get them there here? They have to play probably Dead Bloom plus Slaughter Docs most likely this turn.
Yeah.
All right, Dead Bloom.
It's not enough.
And actually, the Pack Your Bags could be coming out here as we are going to get this. I was going to call it a Rekindler.
Chronicler.
Chronicler
It's
of
the
Ruin
same
down
thing.
onto the Zap Spray. But yeah, it's shaped like a Rekindler.
Budget Rekindler.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And that does mean that we have to go for the attack with the Dead Bloom, understanding that Pack Your Bags was very likely drawn. We do want to get this lifesteal off at the very least. And yeah, the hand of Croatia just not looking great for this matchup. The Abyssal Eyes don't get to do what they need to do when you're going up against Zap Spray Fins. Yeah, you could chump block them, you could kill them, whatever, but then you just get cleaned up by a go hard, and you're not getting the draw that you really need out of those cards because you are playing so inefficiently in that regard.
Yeah, and it looks like these landmarks are just not going to be enough, right? They're going to throw them down, and it's going to do absolutely nothing. It's going to toss a little bit, but they're going to take so much damage on the next attack.
Yeah, this Slaughter Docs, I know I've talked with Boulevard about this a lot in the past, unfortunately, and it's Slaughter Docs just seems kind of underwhelming. I really do like it when you get it early, but we can see here it's just clogging up the hand of Croatia and not really accomplishing anything other than just being a dead card. We will have that one big, tempo swing turn. I don't know if it's gonna be. It spawns at the end of the round.
Beginning of the round, but it depends.
Yeah,
so if the Slaughter Docs is the one tossing into Deep, it won't summon
Yeah.
it, but the second one will summon.
Well, we'll see if that's going to be the case here. But we need these to come out ASAP because we need this tempo back. We need to be able to.
Yeah,
finally
they're not
get some
deep.
stuff down.
That's
wow.
yeah. Okay, they didn't get it. They got it off the second one, which means they don't get any units this turn.
I think they got it off the draw.
Okay, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a pretty big attack on the side of Portugal. I think this is 10 damage being pushed through. So they theoretically have lethal. Actually, I think they do have lethal. I don't think there's anything that Croatia can actually do about this. The Pack Your Bags into Doom Beast should be enough.
Lure of the Depths into Devourer?
Well, no, I think the Abyssal Eye blocking the Zap Spray Fin, is that enough? I think we're still short even with the Doom Beast.
Devourer would be even better, right? That's
Yeah.
Devourer represents, basically 2 blockers. So I guess we can play the Lure of the Depths first, see if we grab it.
Yeah, because if you get down this Abyssal Eye, then I think we do just see the Pack Your Bags.
Because it's 6 damage, Pack Your Bags.
Actually, yeah, okay. So yeah, we do kind of need the Devourer.
Joel Hunter does nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think you had to go for the Devourer. There's a 1-cost spell, or at least a 3-cost or less. So maybe they're hoping it's a Glimpse instead of a Pack Your Bags.
Well, I mean, what this does do is if we do get Pack Your Bags here, then we can throw it out in the Devourer, or sorry, not the Devourer, the Abyssal Eye. So I guess that's kind of maybe the route that Croatia's thinking, so we can still block this elusive.
Oh,
instead,
and
just
we
gonna get
even
the
go
extra.
for the second keg so that we could even kill something like a
Devour.
Yeah, just any 7/7 coming down, the beast below specifically.
I think this might spell the doom for Croatia here.
Aha. Yeah, because even if you block a 2-attack unit, that's 9 damage push through on attacks. That's going to put you at 8. This is a 7 damage pack your bags, followed by the Doom Beast. That is going to be Portugal. Moving on to the finals to face off against France. That means we're going to have Croatia versus Spain in the 3rd place.
Wait,
I don't. Yeah, the Doom Beast.
Wait, I was gonna say if we block and then atrocity the unit onto the keg, does that would have saved Croatia? I think technically.
No, because then you take no, because you would still take 5 from the pack your bags, and then we have 2 Doom Beasts in hand.
Oh, there's 2 Doom Beasts. Never mind.
You
Well, you couldn't play it
both.
this turn though. Yeah, so that technically would have allowed us to survive till next turn. But wait, we can't even this turn. Wait, we live this turn. Oh wait, no, we don't. Never mind. The 2 kegs. I don't know why I thought the kegs were gone.
I don't know. I would assume that with all these missed calls and stalking shadows and things like that, and the beast below is like you have to cut something from that, and I'm imagining it was Withering Whales and Grasp of the Undyings. I don't think there's a whole lot of healing outside of those Dead Bloom Wanderers.
You see, Manittas is like, yes, we got it.
Oh,
congratulations
man.
to Portugal. They are our first finalists of the day.
Croatia. All right, Portugal did unfortunately prevent the upset from Croatia. Croatia going down there. And Portugal, honestly, it's really no surprise. As much as I wanted Croatia to win, Portugal is an outstanding team. And honestly, you know, with players like Manittas, Cyber Dragon, like there is... Every single team in this tournament is stacked, right? And I've dealt with a lot of these players in so many tournaments, so it's pretty awesome seeing them start from, you know, things like Duels of Runeterra, some of the smaller community tournaments, and get up to this point with the EU Masters is just cool in and of itself. So very, very excited to see France versus Portugal. Lots of people from the early days of Legends of Runeterra, from the community, that have just seen a ton of success and 100% deserve to be there. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on that bell, get notified when the finals go live. And as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.